Okay, hi, my name is Nolan, and I will be presenting our application project for software engineering. So today I'm going to showcase our web application called SEMOTrackIt. It's a shuttle tracking web application meant to track the shuttle buses for SEMO. And then I will showcase our code that we use to develop it and where we developed it. And then a quick introduction to Firebase, which was a primary database to store shuttle tracking data and more. So to start, this is our website, SEMO I'm hosting this locally through a web server through Visual Studio Code. So here we really wanted to highlight SEMO colors. So a big majority of our website is red, white, and black. And we really wanted this to be familiar for SEMO students when they would look at it with the SEMO logo. And then we would put in some logos here, what our application is. And we really wanted to emphasize that this project was created by SEMO students for SEMO students. And that was a big goal for us for this project. And when you scroll down, you can see that there's several other headers. So here's a header to welcome the user into the page. You can click Get Started, and it brings you down to the map. The map is pretty cool. We were able to integrate a full map of Cape Girardeau within this tiny section, which was really cool. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, and you can even click on a pin to see the name of the stop because these pins are the stops that the shuttles take. So here you can see when I click on academic hall, you can see the name right there. Scroll down, you can see we have an active shuttle tab. So this is where you can see all of the live shuttles that are taking place. We programmed 3 shuttles for our web app. And when you sign in with your SEMO.edu account, you can be able to view them here. And then at the bottom, you can search the different routes and stops that we have. So we try to make this as accurate as possible. So we have 2 primary routes that we have and then several stops. So if you click on a route, you click search, you're able to see the name of the route and the different stops that it takes. And then if you click on a stop, like academic hall, like before, you can click on academic hall and it'll say viewing. And that's because when you view the map, it'll actually view that stop for you. So now let's sign in. So I made an account through here with my SEMO email. And here you can make a password because you want to make an account through our website. So I made an account with a password and then you would just click sign in. And if you haven't signed into this website before, you would put in your email, a password, and then hit create SEMO account. So we're going to sign in. And here you can see that it welcomes me. I've already signed in before, so it tells me, hey, like welcome back. So we wanted that login familiarity to be pretty close to the user. Here it welcomes you here with your username, but now you'll notice that in the map you can actually see the shuttle buses here on the map, and you can highlight them and click it, and you can see the name of that shuttle. And then down here, we programmed the active shuttles to be like where you can like see what the progress is and the name, the progress, the ETA, and how fast they're going. So you can see that here. So there's a progress bar. It goes up when it's closer, and then it gives you an ETA and the name, which is pretty cool. And you can see that route that it's taking as well. So 2 of them are taking residential, and one's taking the main loop. And here, it's just a simulation. We weren't able to actually get any live tracking data. This was just due to a strict contract agreement between SEMO and the Cape Transit Authority they weren't able to provide us with any live tracking data to the school, so they weren't able to give it to us at all. And so you could stop the simulation, and the shuttles would stop moving, and you can start the sim again. And now to go into Firebase. So Firebase connects very closely with our program. And so here is what Firebase looks like. This is our live tracking database here, real-time database. And you can see here that we have several different bodies that we programmed and we collect data for. So for example, you can see that we've collected the data for the routes, and you can see the names of the routes there, residential, all of that. So that's pretty cool. But here's the really cool thing. So when you see the yellow highlight around like shuttles, that means that it's actively taking that data and it's changing in lifetime. So I could view one of the shuttles called a Campus Cruiser, and I could see its exact latitude, longitude, so exactly where it is on the map, the path it's taking. So you can see that here, latitude and longitude, and then its progress. So that's that percentage, and then the route ID and how fast it's going. And it changes, I think, every second. It will update, and it does that for all three, which is pretty cool. You can see the stops. So you can see all of our stops that we have here. So the first example is academic. You can see latitude, longitude for all of that. And then the users, so when you sign in, they are all be here as well. So here's my account with my email, and it creates like an identifier, collects the email, but it doesn't necessarily show you the password. It makes a hash. So this is for security reasons, but the hash will show that there was an account made and there is a password being stored there as well. So now let me kind of explain our code a little bit. So this is our GitHub. It's called SEMOTrackIt. We have a README, which I will provide in the zip file when I upload the code. But we create a README just so that, I mean, anybody who wants to access it and view it can see how our app works, how to sign in, and how to run it locally. So that if you want to run it on your own server, or eventually it will have its own domain, so that you can access it on a smartphone or a computer on any network and platform. So that's our README. And then the actual files are in here called web app. So we only have a few files that really make this web application come to life. So here's the HTML file. So this is what's going to create the overall structure for the website, such as like the headers, the footers, the other sections of our web app. And that is all created from here. The package, the .json and package lock, these help to provide like version numbers for like Node.js, Firebase, and this is to help structure different version types. And for the package lock JSON, we do have a lot of version types that we have, but we just have so many components into our app that it is definitely needed. And in script.js, this is the primary logic for our code. So this is where we actually implement Firebase API key integration. So you can see that our API key is there and other key information for our app. But this is where we also where the data gets updated. So you can see that we have our stops are programmed here. The passwords are hashed going into Firebase. And there's many other important sections. Let me see if I can find another. So this is our start simulation. So this actually is what creates the shuttles to move. That's the logic there. And then this one helps to update the live tracking data for Firebase. So script.js is the big file that enables the login, the real shuttle time tracking services, and the Firebase database connection. And then styles.css. CSS is what helps to give the HTML file more of a visual appearance. So this is where we have like the SEMO logo to bounce a little bit. When you sign in, there is, I think there's like a confetti that goes out and stuff, and just some of the unique red and black coloring options that we did were all found in this file. And if you have any questions about this project, feel free to reach out to me in my group.
Hi, my name is Owen Stevens. I'm going to continue with what Nolan was talking about with the project and go into more depth about some of our use cases, looking at the app itself. So, there are three main use cases for the app, and it'll be tracking shuttles, the stops between them, and the routes. So to view this information, you'll need to log in. So as you can see, it already has my username and password here, but say I used a Gmail account, I would go to sign in and it says access is restricted to SEMO students only. This is so that if you don't have a SEMO email, in the case that um, it would actually track your SEMO email, you wouldn't be able to use it. So I'll go ahead and put in this right here. I'll also go ahead and change this to 2 just to demonstrate what happens if you don't already have an account. So it'll pop up in the corner that it says the account is not found. You can instead press the Create SEMO Account button um, to access it, and then in future cases, you can use the Sign In button. So now that I'm signed in, you can press Get Started. It'll bring you down to the map where currently the shuttles are running a simulated route since we weren't able to get the live information from CTA. So the first use case is going to be tracking stops. So there's two ways to do this. The first is if you do know what your stop is, you can go to the map and click on it. So say I want to get to Academic Hall and I already know where it is on a map because I've been there frequently. I can go to the map right here and click on the stop and see that the shuttles are just about to get there. So if I were at Academic, oh, now it looks like the simulator says that it is past academic, so if I were there, I would need to wait until they loop back around now. Say I didn't know where Academic Hall was on the map, though. You can go down here to where it says search routes and stops. I'm going to press Academic Hall and press search. Doesn't display a lot of information here, it just says the stop name. But if you click on it and go back up to the map, you can see that it's now zoomed in on it. I'll go ahead and do it again since it zoomed out. You can see that it's zoomed in on it right here. Say I want to find a different stop, Cape Trails. It'll bring me up to it right here. This is a much easier way for finding it if you don't know where the stop is on the map. So then another use case is finding which route you should take um, to get to where you need to be. So the shuttles, of course, have different routes, and you should get on a specific shuttle based on where you need to go. So I need to get to Academic Hall, um, or I need to see which one's going to come to Academic Hall to pick me up. I go down here and I click on Residential Express. I see that its stops include the University Center, Towers Complex, Cape Trails, and Red Hot Commons, which doesn't include Academic Hall, so I'm going to need to find another route. I click on Main Campus Loop. I see that the third stop here is Academic Hall, and now I know which shuttle I need to track to get on the correct route. So then the third use case, the most important one I'd say, is actually tracking the shuttle and its information. So right now, going back to Academic Hall, can see that the shuttles have passed. So it's probably going to be a while before they get back to Academic Hall. That would be good information to know as to decide whether or not I should just walk or if I have enough time to wait for the shuttles to loop back around. So I can see where they're at on the map to know that they just passed where I need them to be. But I can also go down here to the active shuttles and see their information on these routes here. So it shows that the two shuttles on the Residential Express are currently up here a little bit and on the way to the University Apartments. And then the main campus loop is down by Kent Library. So neither of those are really right next to academic as far as our stops go. So it would probably be a good case in this scenario to walk. But these are the three main use cases we have for our app. There aren't a ton since it's a shuttle tracker, but these are the main ones that you would need to know how to do um, and utilize to make the most out of this app.